postseason, playoff implications, like the NFL is a multi-billion-dollar business. Like, these are things you have to think about. It's got to be a conversation at some point. But everyone insisted, we can't talk about it. Do not talk about it. For some reason, we weren't allowed to even talk about it. And then the NFL comes up with their solution to this because they canceled the game. They came up with a solution, and they came up with the dumbest solution. This convoluted, like, involving coin flips and everything else. And then people are complaining about the solution they came up with. Well, we weren't allowed to talk about what the solution would be because of, the virtue signaling happening from the sports commentators. All right, one other thing, this is from the other wire. Flying car prototypes are starting to take off. Science fiction is one step closer to reality as several companies debut working prototypes for flying cars. The American startup Aska showed off its A5 model at the 2023 Consumer Electronics Show. The A5 is an electric vertical takeoff and landing vehicle roughly the size of a standard SUV. It's reportedly capable of driving at 70 miles per hour on the road and flying at speeds of up to 150 miles per hour. All I want to say about this is that the flying car thing, it's the kind of thing that you think sounds really great and cool when you're a kid, before you're able to drive yourself. And then you get a license, and you get out on the road, and you realize what a terrible idea this would actually be. Because the vast majority of people can't drive on the ground, let alone driving in the sky. It's amazing that most Americans drive every day for decades, and yet never figure out how to do it. I mean, the roads are infested with people behind their driving these big chunks of metal, 70 miles per hour, and they're just sitting behind the wheel. They have no idea what they're doing or anything. How can you do something every day and yet not know how to do it? But this is the case. Just yesterday, I was, one example of so many, sitting at a typical experience, sitting at a stoplight. I'm in the right-hand lane. It's turn lane, turn only lane. There's one car in front of me, and as always, that car is just sitting there at the red light. There are no cars coming the other direction. He's sitting there at the red light, pondering the mysteries of the universe, rather than turning, which you can do. You can turn on red. I mean, are there any states left in the United States of America where you can't turn right on red? Does that exist anywhere? How is it that people still aren't acquainted with this rule? I'm pretty sure every state in the union, you can turn right on red unless there's a sign saying otherwise. So this guy isn't turning. I'm beeping at him. He still isn't going. Finally, we get it green. He turns. Then as I'm going up to take my turn to turn, it's a green now. A car that is not in the turn lane turns right in front of me. So cars that are supposed to turn right aren't. Cars that aren't supposed to turn right are. And why did the guy do that? Well, because he was not in the turn only lane. He landed and realized at the last minute he wasn't in the lane. Okay, read the signs and you wouldn't have this problem. Or if you missed it, just go to the next intersection, turn right there, hook up with the path you want to take. It's an extra 45 seconds. So you can take the extra 45 seconds or risk a car accident. This is a calculation people make. It's like when they're about to miss the exit, so they veer across 4 lanes of traffic. You could die. Like you might die doing that, or just take an extra 45 seconds, take the exit that's take one exit up and flip around. A couple extra minutes. You got people in cars saying, I would rather be dead and possibly kill 15 other people instead of taking a couple extra minutes because I missed my exit. Anyway, my point simply is, we do not need to give these people planes. Next up is our daily cancellation. I'll be responding to the Young Turks who use an entire segment of their show to own me if they succeed. You can probably guess, but stay tuned to hear more.
When you start up a motorcycle and you hear it go bonk, bonk, boom when it takes off. I was losing that. I was losing my energy, like everybody does as they grow older. And I don't want to be tired. I don't want to look tired, and I don't want to be tired. I started using Balance of Nature about 1.5 years ago. Noticed the results immediately, and I went, oh my gosh, this works. This is what I've been missing all my life. I'm loving life actually more than I ever have. I miss my Baba Lou. I got it back. Experience the Balance of Nature difference for yourself. See why Kathy Lee Gifford and thousands of others have had life-changing success with Balance of Nature. Take advantage of our New Year's offer while you still can. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com. That's 1-800-246-8751 and get $25 off plus a free vibrant spice when you use discount code KLG.
Individual rates, coverage offerings, and savings may vary. Subject to terms and conditions. Not available in all areas. Actual pie customer.
The other workers' comp insurance company, they were going to reclassify her business, and then they were going to charge me $50,000.
we fit.
Is your small business overpaying for workers' comp insurance? See how much you can save at trypi.com. Plus, when you sign up for pay-as-you-go billing, your premium is based on your actual payroll, not an estimate. So your workers' comp audit experience is simplified.
I'm grateful that there's a company out there that's willing to insure us little guys because every dollar counts.
With Pi Insurance, you get pricing and coverage made for small businesses. What are you waiting for? Ask your agent for Pi or get a quote in 3 minutes at trypi.com. That's TRYPIE.com.
This is Lane Schiffman of Shreve & Company.
Lane's a member of the fourth generation of his family committed to preserving the highest standards and the finest quality of jewelry in America.
From San Francisco and Palo Alto
To Greensboro, North Carolina.
you told us you prefer high standards and fine quality.
You have kept true craftsmanship alive in America.
From our family to yours, thank you.
Thank you from 5 generations.
Sears & Company, 150 Post off Union Square and in Palo Alto, perfectly situated in the Stanford Shopping Center.
I'm Rick Edelman, host of the award-winning personal finance radio show, The Truth About Your Future. Here to tell you that The Truth About Your Future is now a daily podcast. Sure, every day I give you the information you need about personal finance, longevity, retirement security, exponential technologies, blockchain and digital assets, and health and wellness. Get The Truth About Your Future with Rick Edelman. The podcast is at YouTube, Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google, and thetruthayf.com.
During one of these daily cancellation segments last week, we discussed the violent nature of football and other contact sports. A violent nature which had come under intense scrutiny by the media after we talked about Bills defender Damar Hamlin nearly died on the field during a Sunday football matchup with the Bengals. Of course, as far as we know, the Hamlin incident may not have had anything to do with football violence. Still, to this point, all we know is that he had a cardiac emergency in the middle of the game. We have not been given any direct evidence.
Me a fucking
It's actually
truck.
caused by collision on the field, though it certainly could have been either way. Whatever the exact cause, it remains an extremely rare occurrence that anyone has to be taken off the field by an ambulance and brought immediately to the hospital. That's rare. It doesn't happen very often. This in spite of the fact that football is indeed a violent sport, and as I argued during that segment, should remain a violent sport. Now, it's good to have these kinds of physical, even brutal, full-contact sports, if for no other reason than the fact that they serve as relatively healthy, relatively safe, relatively productive outlets for male aggression. One of the great services that sports like football provide for society is that they give young, aggressive men and boys a way to harness and channel all of that energy. This is one of the central reasons why sports exist to begin with. The violence is not the whole point, but it is part of the point, and it's an important part. Take it away, and these young men will find other outlets for their aggression, outlets which you will discover are not nearly so safe or controlled as football. That was my basic point. It was a point that proved to be very upsetting to people on the internet, especially after our marketing team at Media Matters posted another of their carefully cropped clips of my monologue to Twitter. The full monologue, which fleshes out my point in rather precise detail, went on for, I think, 12 or 13 minutes. But Jason Campbell at Media Matters posted the 75 seconds, which he felt was the most likely to make the pitchfork mob upset, especially when isolated from the full content. And it seems that he made the right choice, because his clip garnered nearly 10 million views on Twitter and provoked lots of angry reactions. Before we continue, I think it would be fair for me to, go back and we'll show the part of that monologue that he posted, and then we'll talk about it here. Let's consider football itself as a sport. Despite any rule changes or updates to the equipment, it is still a fundamentally violent sport. That's true. And that's what it always will be. Is that a bad thing? No, it's not. In fact, it is a good and healthy thing. It is good that football is violent. It should stay violent. It is good to have violent sports. Okay? We should have violent sports. If anything, we should have more of them. Because a violent sport like football is, among other things, a relatively safe, and relatively productive outlet for male energy and aggression. Okay? There's a reason why many of the media articles being written and freaking me out about football are being written by women. Because football is not, no matter what the NFL is trying to do, football is not for women. There might be some women who get into it, but it's not really for women. It's not for you. You don't understand it. You're not meant to understand it. This is actually a man's thing. This is why violent games have existed in every society going back to primitive times. They are a means of channeling and harnessing male aggression. Okay, so I did say that football is a man's sport, which, why did I say that? How could I possibly justify such a statement? Well, because football was invented by men and has been played almost exclusively by men, and the vast majority of its fans are men and have always been men and will always be men. That's why I said it. Does that mean that no woman has ever watched football or been a fan or been involved professionally at some level? No, it just means that football was made by men and mostly for men. This is a statistical and historical reality. It isn't really up for debate, okay? If it interferes with your girl power fantasies, that's your problem, not mine. I don't really care. And apparently it did interfere with lots of people's fantasies, which is why there were many explaining why my statements were terrible and wrong, hurtful and sexist and so on. This continued until the scholars over at the Young Turks got wind of the controversy and decided to devote a lengthy segment responding to and supposedly debunking my claim. The title of this segment on YouTube declares that, quote, TYT demolishes right-wing alpha male Matt Walsh for his most recent sexist rant. Now, this is nothing new. I've been demolished by many a left-wing YouTuber over the years, demolished at least according to the titles they put on their videos. But as we've seen many times in the past, these demolitions usually end up being rather anticlimactic, if I must say. Rarely do they live up to their own hype. Perhaps, though, this Young Turks video will be different. Perhaps my demolition will finally come to fruition. Let's watch and find out.
That is the infamous fascist, misogynist, and other badist Matt Walsh, insisting that football is only for men. And we are about to prove him completely wrong. Who could have seen that take coming? Jane did it perfectly just yesterday, right here on TYT. Check out this clip.
So now it looks like the right wing is trying to frame it like, oh yeah, I remember when people were real men, and they just didn't mind people getting killed on the field. Now the libs want to make this soft so there isn't as many deaths on the field.
Thank God you're wearing a slightly different colored shirt, otherwise people could have thought you did that live, but...
Yeah, no, I knew they were going to eventually celebrate the fact that, well, the guy almost died, right? And like, oh, it's supposed to be a violent sport, man, yeah. And chicks wouldn't understand nothing about it, huh?
My is that his dumb guy voice is indistinguishable from his regular voice. He's doing an impression of an idiot and yet sounds just like himself. And speaking of sounding like an idiot, he misses the point entirely, of course. If there is a right-wing take on the Damar Hamlin injury, it's that it's not an injury. Jenks, is that how you pronounce it? I honestly don't know how to pronounce his name, is trying to strawman us, but he said...